have the best ideas, right? And in some ways, you let them go, you check in, and you support the work that's happening, and you just let them take their plans and push them all the way, because when you're in the community, you see where the needs are and where the areas of potential are, and just as much as possible empowering even young people to go out and do that work.
Talk to me about leadership. Now, clearly, of course, you feel great that numbers of people want to work for you and help you get across the goal line to achieve your objective here. But beyond that, talk to me about leadership and all that you have to process and all that you have to think about, and the accountability factor to all of these people that are working for you, and then the accountability factor to all of the people that you want to vote for you. I'm very curious as to what you think leadership means.
Yeah, so it's interesting. When you go into a room, you can often sense what people want you to say, right? It's either an advocacy group that is lobbying you on a certain position, or a neighborhood association that you can just sense is very opposed to a project that is coming up for discussion, and people want to know where you stand. They want to know how you feel, and they want you, in many cases, to commit to supporting them. I take those conversations very seriously and carefully, because I believe, first and foremost, that it's my job to be informed on the facts and to make a decision out of understanding the reality of the situation. And even though it may be politically expedient or convenient to jump on something, I think whenever possible, I want to take the time to really understand the implications of this decision on sort of the neighborhood, the community, the city in general. And that's why whenever someone says, are you for or against this, it's often a very nuanced answer, and there are multiple factors. And as someone who's running for office for the first time, I'm pushing myself very hard to try to shorten those answers, because I could go on for days about all the different details that go into that.
Right.
So it's trying to find the right balance where you're saying, you're getting to the point, but you're also showing that there are many different factors involved. And I think at the end of the day, people have been very, I've had those conversations where I sort of expect it. I'm going to say something that I know this person is not going to agree with. But at the end of the day, people are very, very appreciative when you're just honest with them, you're forthright, and you're making the effort to understand where they're coming from. I think people genuinely want to feel that they've been heard, that you understand them, and that you care about their position, whether or not at the end of the day you're going to agree with them 100%.
So talk to me about the people that are working for you now, because you're the leader of this, really a small army of people that are out there working for you. What is your accountability to those folks, and how do you feel about marshaling their strengths and their talents to do what needs to be done to win this race?
Yeah, I love my staff. They're incredible and work so hard. We just have, I think, the best team, and it's growing every day because their enthusiasm really spreads to volunteers. And we just had a volunteer meeting last night that was even bigger than the one that we had before that. So we're really feeling the momentum continue. And a lot of that is sort of the representatives of the campaign, both in terms of the staff and the volunteers and the leader, our advisors, and all of that. I try, in terms of accountability to my own staff, I work very, very hard and try to, I would never ask anyone to do something that I wouldn't be comfortable doing myself. And my staff is actually, they've been very protective and want me to, not to go too hard and to slow down. I remember right before the election, the day before, we had worked as hard as we could. We had finished all of our calls, done everything, and I was just sitting around. They said, you need to rest. You need to just take it easy, rest. And so I actually was looking around the office for things to do. I shredded some papers for a while, and finally they said, you need to go home because we have all worked really hard. Yeah. We're prepared. But I'm always happy to jump in and dig in and do the work as well.
I've had the opportunity to see you work, and she's not kidding, folks. I mean, you hardly ever see Michelle Wu just kind of sitting there and just taking it easy. She's got to be like constant motion and getting things done. That said, talk to folks about the process of fundraising. Now, we know that you have to go out there and you have to raise funds and that sort of thing, but people don't actually know what it takes. Clearly, you're calling people or you're meeting people and you're asking them, will you support the campaign and will you do it to this degree, and so on and so forth. But drill down a little bit, for folks that may never have either done this or have been approached by someone that's trying to solicit funds for a campaign. Talk to us about that process.
So I think it's helpful always to start with just even from the candidate and the staff's perspective of where the money's going, right? Because when you're asking someone for money, you should know what it's going to. It's not just disappearing. It's not just this number that you're trying to increase. Fundraising is absolutely critical for making sure that you have enough budget for printing, for keeping staff on payroll, for sending mail out to reach the voters that you might not be able to get to just by knocking on doors and making phone calls. So it's really about spreading your message out there. And I like to be very concrete in knowing kind of what our needs are. So we sort of start with the budget of what we are trying to raise and why. Mm-hmm. So knowing what pools of, or what pots of money that would go to fund, whether it's advertising or mail or staff or something else. And then as you're trying to build to that number, just think about all the different networks, because the way fundraising works best is the way that asking for votes works best. You're much more responsive to someone that you know and that you ideally like and trust and respect. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of cold calls for me, which is not the most pleasant thing, but I use it as an opportunity to get to know more people and to introduce myself and ask for their vote in addition to asking them to get involved and donate. And it's also asking people who are close to the campaign to either get together with, convene 20 of their friends and their home and see if people can donate $10, $100, whatever is the appropriate level, and trying to convene events where people can feel comfortable getting together, meeting the candidate, and then hopefully donating after that.
So, listen, we are down to our last minute and change. What I want you to do is to look in that camera over there and talk to people and tell them why they should give you their vote to be their next citywide city councilor.
Great. Well, thank you so much for tuning in and giving us the time. My name is Michelle Wu. I'm running for one of the 4 City Council at-large seats, so please don't forget to vote on November 5th. I'm running because I know firsthand how hard it can be to raise a family in the city of Boston, and I also know from my family's experiences, raising my younger sister, as a former restaurant owner, taking care of my mom, that Boston has the resources as a city to get it done. We have the resources to support every family. It is just about connecting those resources to our neighborhoods, to our communities, and to the local infrastructure that's already there, about increasing access and taking down those obstacles to access, whether it's about language barriers, cultural barriers, transportation. I know that we can get it done. I see the City Council as an incredibly powerful tool to start conversations, connect people together, and connect those resources to families. So I very humbly and respectfully ask for your vote in getting us there, one of your 4 votes on November 5th.
Michelle, thanks a lot. Thanks for coming on. I know that you're probably leaving here and you're going to run out and do probably 14 or 15 forums tonight, but we wish you worlds of luck. Worlds of success. And thank you so much for not only being here today, but for being in this race and listening to people and talking to them about the issues of importance to them, and then wanting to be their advocate to make sure that they and their families get what's needed. So thank you so very much.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. All right, folks, we're going to go to a break, and on the other side, we're going to have Matt Keogh here, and he's going to talk about why he is campaigning for one of those seats. So please do stay tuned.